Another question comes in. Mona O'Kelly. Does the Bible give us guidance for not participating in dance such as at weddings? Good question that you have there. And so we want to try and give it with a Bible answer. That is a question that I think back when I was a child. And the reason being is, for some reason in school, they decided that, they wanted us to do line dancing in PE. I don't know what was wrong with dodgeball. We had a lot of fun throwing balls and hitting each other with them. And, our school had, I still remember it. It was the coolest thing. It was a basketball goal that could be pulled out, and it had 4 sides and it could be put center court. And then they had this battery and it would raise up to the right height, and we'd shoot basketball. That was great. But then all of a sudden they were going to teach square dancing, line dancing in, PE. And my parents sent a note and explained to me that, Guyton, we don't dance as Christians. And I thought, why? What's the big deal? Because I was a child. I mean, what child wants to be left out of PE? But, and I don't want to be crude here, but once I saw, as a young man, the dancing taking place, and yes, it was just country dancing, but once we saw some of the girls doing that, I understood why, because they had me sitting off to the side watching, and I realized, wait a minute, that reminds me a lot of perhaps maybe what was taking place, not completely of Salome before Herod, but the concept of the lewdness and the word is, it just leaves me right now.
Lasciviousness.
That's the word I was thinking of.
I was thinking of lasciviousness, but I was thinking of the definition of it, because I looked it up just a moment ago. The sensuality. Did I say that right? Sensuality. That often goes along with dancing. And lasciviousness certainly is condemned in the concept of Mark chapter 7, verse 20 through 23. That which cometh out of the man that defileth man, for from within, out of the heart of man, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornication, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, and evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. And that lasciviousness there, by definition, I can't say the word, you might can there, but it just means the idea of wanton violence, insolence, and sensuality. And dance often provokes that concept. All right, I'll leave it to you.
No, I agree with you. I mean, there are principles that Christians need to live their lives by, that this applies to, goes beyond dancing. There's lots of other things in life that seem harmless, but how are you viewed? Is this glorifying God? Is one of the things you need to ask yourself by participating in dancing or whatever it is that is questionable. Is it glorifying God? Is it becoming of a Christian? Am I practicing the right principles? I think 1 Thessalonians 5:22, and I know a lot of young people hate it when I say this, but it says, abstain from every form of evil. Well, what is that? If it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. You brought in the sensuality of it. Just look at, and I was a teenager. I wanted to go to the dances, and I remember that's an exciting time for a young person. But a lot of times there's a lot of mixed signals that are there. There's a lot of other things that don't need to be taking place. One of my favorite things I heard at camp one time is always leave room for Jesus. In between there.
I mean, I never went to dances. If it's just not something that my parents allowed me to do. And so I didn't do it. I'm actually grateful for that, because I know what the guys were talking about, of why the guys didn't want to get out there and dance. All they wanted to do is get close to a girl. And, that's why it was taking place.
The Bible says over and over and over to abstain from, to flee from, to stay away from sexual immorality. What is sexual immorality? It's a broad category.
Oh, exactly. And then, Mona asked this question, and she puts a qualifier. So I think we need to go ahead and deal with this aspect too, such as at weddings. And I know at weddings, as a preacher, I've had situations come up and they ask me about the dancing and stuff, and um, not like for me to dance, but like, what about the father daughter dance? What about the mother son dance? The
Husband and wife.
husband and wife having a first dance. One, a married couple, if you want to dance and be sensual, certainly within the marriage bed, there are things that are allowed between couples that's certainly fine. Is every dance sensual? Not necessarily, but I think even implied at weddings is the idea of intimacy between a father daughter. That's why they're having that dance, sharing a special moment. And if that's the case in the way that you want to, I would just be cautious, because what are you encouraging other people to do in these situations? And that's where that abstain from the appearance of all evil. I know perhaps we could get into a debate about how that verse is used, but why am I going in that direction on those occasions? That's a part of a culture that centers around the concept of sensuality. As Christians, we want to avoid that. And so I think the lasciviousness, we don't want to be partakers of it in any way. And I'm not saying that the daughter and the father is being sensual in the sense of sexuality, but the idea of the intimacy in the moment and the encouragement that to other people wouldn't be good. And I mean, when you gyrate your body in ways that are provoking, and I think, just to get real about things, it's kind of funny to watch, because as a cop, I went in places, it's amazing how the people are always like, I can't dance until they've had a few beers in them. And then all of a sudden they can, because they have loosened up and they're allowing themselves to behave in ways that normally soberly they would not behave. So maybe that helps answer that question. If not, you can give us a follow-up. We're happy to, Bible answers, Bible questions. And I think that was a good Bible question.
Yes.